Oregon pulled it out. 18-16 final over Iowa. Got to give it 4.5 Chalai. 4.5 Chalai Classic there in Iowa City, which I believe is the highest rating we've ever put on an Iowa game. Dan Lanning, in true psychopath form, chose to wear cotton in the pouring rain up there. I had it on good authority throughout the week that was going to happen. Once we called it out, there was no shot. There was already little shot of him wearing anything other than cotton. Once we called it out on the show, and then Will and Taylor and me called it out in the locker room again, we had a really good source on this, an extremely good source. I would say a source as close to Dan Lanning as a source could possibly be told us in terms that can't be expressed on the show. He's wearing cotton. So he did. And he probably gained 25, 30 pounds in the game, but Oregon gained a win. I don't know what they did in the bye week. Normally you come out of the bye healthy. It sounds like Lanning threw his entire team into the Pacific Ocean, 3 miles offshore, and said, those of you who make it to the beach can play against Iowa, because DeCorian Moore was nowhere to be found. Kenyon Sadiq missed this game. Their right guard was out. So whoever survived being lost at sea goes to Iowa City in the pouring rain. And what did I tell you the key was? We circled this one last week, and I said the key to this thing is Oregon's got to go win Iowa's game, because it was going to be an Iowa game. The weather dictated that this was not going to be a fireworks show. And so if I were to tell you, this is sort of a padlock stat, but if I were to tell you Friday that the opening score in this game was going to be a safety, that there were going to be 400 combined rush yards, that one team was going to have more rush yards than both teams combined had passing yards, that there would be 8 drives of 4+ minutes, the final would be 18-16, it would be in the pouring rain, and the winning team would have under 115 total passing yards, who would you think that game favored? That is an Iowa game. That's a quintessential Iowa Hawkeyes football game, and the Oregon Ducks came out on top. You want a padlock stat? I'll give you one. Oregon outrushed them 261-140. That's it. Moment to remember. We had one in the Indiana game. I mean, we saw Kurt Cignetti and crew go up there and get a moment that will be played on highlight reels for years to come. And I don't know how many highlight reels that Dante Moore pass to Malik Benson will make, but I guarantee it makes the cinematic recap of the game, because Oregon releases like basically a movie after every game. I think they should enter it in various film festivals. That's just me talking. But 23 seconds left, 49-yard line, and they just boom. And the thing about that is the whole rest of the game had been a nightmare trying to throw the ball. And I've always got respect for guys who, despite the fact that their stat sheet's not loaded up, it's still, when it comes winning time, winners just find ways to make those plays, which is always fun, because when we're on the road in the spring and the summer, you go watch guys, they're doing like their summer workouts, and it's like 90 degrees outside. Guys maybe not wearing a shirt. They got shorts on. Everyone's pouring sweat. And what's always been funny about the sport of football to me is you train in brutal heat to be able to make some plays in freezing cold that will define your season. It's always funny how long the seasons are and how year-round the training is. But you're always training in just scorching heat, knowing full well that you're trying to get yourself ready for 37 degrees in Iowa City in early November. And they were ready. They were ready. Last year versus this year, think about the difference. Where were you last year? Where was Oregon last year? I'll tell you where Oregon was. They were well on their way to an undefeated regular season. They were well on their way to a Big Ten championship, a number 1 overall seed, and a first-round bye. I'm not saying those are bad things. They were actually very good things. It didn't end the way they wanted, but they were pretty dominant during the regular season. That's why they got that number 1 overall seed. Compare that to this year. They're cut. They've been bleeding. They've got close wins against Penn State and Iowa. They got handled in their own building by Indiana about a month or so ago right now. They still could lose another game. All their remaining games are losable. Minnesota, not likely, but not impossible. And then they got Southern Cal in there. They go to Washington. Last game of the year, Washington's season got ruined yesterday. That Oregon visit will be Washington's Super Bowl at the end of the year. Not to mention USC is a top 20 team right now. So they could still lose another game. Think about the perception. No one's talking about Oregon in the national championship. You got to go 3 teams deep in the Big Ten before people mention Oregon. It's all Ohio State and Indiana right now. Oregon's vulnerable. Everyone's pointing out their weaknesses and inefficiencies. I've pointed them out, but they're alive and they control their own destiny. And here's a question. It's kind of rhetorical now because we don't know what the answer will be. What if Oregon gets healthy? We'll get back to the video 1 second. Do me one quick favor. Look down. Make sure you're subscribed. Most of you are. If you're not, please do so. It's the way we keep the channel free, we keep the videos coming, and we get to do college football year-round as God intended. All right, as promised, back to the video. What if they get more back? What if they get Kenyon Sadiq back? Evan Stewart. No one said that name in a while. What if they get him back? What if they do what Ohio State did last year? Ohio State brutalized them in the playoff. Why? Because they peaked at the right time and Oregon didn't. You don't think Dan Lanning and his team and his organization learned a lesson or two from that? So what if they're going to peak at the right time? No guarantee. Like I said, they could lose another game and get knocked out of this thing and not even make the playoff. But I'll just say, out of all these teams that everyone keeps circling as capable of winning a national title, I haven't seen a lot of people include Oregon on that list. Oregon is still on my list, is all I'm saying. Not at the top of it, but Oregon is still on that list right now. So just don't include me as having been part of the group that's eliminated the Ducks quite yet. Is that fence riding? A little bit. A little bit. Are you picking them to win? No. Are you picking them to lose? Absolutely not. What are you picking them to do? On to the next segment. This is an exciting moment. We've been waiting for this for a few months. And I have good news. I brought my chapstick out on set tonight. That has nothing to do with the announcement. There we go. All right. It's not as dry here as it was in Lubbock yesterday. Dry heat. Great day, though. So, all right, this is actually very serious. I moved here in January of 2020. Here is Nashville. I moved to Nashville in January of 2020. In March of 2020, March 3rd, if my memory serves correct, 2020, there was an EF4 tornado that came through Nashville, middle of the night. The only time I've ever taken shelter in my adult life from a tornado was this night, because I'm a storm chaser, so normally I'm chasing tornadoes. Nashville just got blindsided by what ended up being a killer tornado, March 3rd, 2020. 1 year to the day after we had chased one down in Beauregard, Alabama, also EF4. So the only 2 EF4s I've been in were a year to the day apart from each other. This tornado comes through Germantown, comes through Nashville, goes across the Cumberland River. It stays on the ground for a long time, ended up going out through Cookeville, and a lot of people lost their lives. We've come to know a guy who lost his little girl that night. His name's Matt. He has since started a charity, started a foundation because of that event, because they went through what it's like to have to bury your child. There's no real easy way to state that. So we've come to know him. He watches the show. He's been a longtime friend of the show, and he has got a foundation called the Magnolia Foundation. So for a long time on our show, the entire purpose of really growing it as big as we have is to be able to help as many people as we can. It's really been part 1A of the motivation. We love college football, number one, and then 1A, we could leverage the platform to help people. So we've never partnered with a charity before. We are doing that as of tonight. So the Magnolia Foundation specializes in assisting families who have lost a child, 0 to 18 years old. And they help with funeral expenses, they help with counseling, they help with commemorative care, which is fascinating and I knew nothing about. But that is, sort of being there on important anniversaries that everyone else has probably forgotten about as the months and years go on, and, just there to provide a little something. So they helped 3 families in 2025. Average cost is about $4,000 per family. We want to bump it up to 500 families in 2026. As you could imagine, there is a very, very big need for this, and we can help. Our show is in a position to help. The brand is big enough where we can help, so we're going to help. So Among the other things that we're going to do as a show behind the scenes, I wanted to let you know that we're adding Magnolia Foundation Pate State collaborative merchandise into the store. So 50% of those proceeds will go to the Magnolia Foundation, among several other initiatives that we'll be announcing in the coming weeks. But we wanted to get that in the store, patestateMaterial.com, because Christmas is a huge priority for them, as you can imagine Christmas time is for people who are in need for this specific reason. Now, a lot of you are listening to this right now and probably saying, I'm in. I don't need to go to the store. I don't need to buy anything. I just want to help directly. TheMagnoliaFoundation.com/give. If you just want to help directly, TheMagnoliaFoundation.com/give is how you do it. We wanted to do something fun in the store. So you got the hat there. The hat looks great, by the way. The shirt does as well. So those will be there just if you want to show it, if you want to wear it. But if you want to help, just straight up help, TheMagnoliaFoundation.com/give. We'll be doing a lot with them. So this is the charity that we're partnering with. As a people here at Pate State, really good work they do. I've had them lay it out for me. We've had several conversations with Matt. Talked to him for a while about this. We finally are able to announce it publicly tonight. So happy to be a part of this.